So what's my thoughts on setting New Year's resolutions? Well, personally, I don't do them anymore. And the reason for that is that a resolution in itself is something, especially a New Year's resolution, is something that's a weak wish at best, and it's not really committed. And I think what happens in, getting caught up in the celebration and the festive time is that we want to set new resolutions because we want a new experience, rather than actually thinking about what it is we actually want to achieve and commit to making a change. So I think this is where most people fail at seeing through with their resolutions, and that I'd say it's a good 90% of people give up within the first couple of weeks, because really, as I say, it's not a commitment to something you want to change or improve. It's a mere desire to do something or experience something new. So what I tend to do now is I will work on a goal. My idea for making improvement is to commit to certain things that I want to change or improve, which is in a longer term period rather than a short term fix of a month or a couple of months, because nothing really happens in a couple of months. And what you find is by setting that goal and really committing to something, you actually achieve it, rather than saying I resolve to do something, which in its essence a resolution is only something that you something that you want to change, whereas a commitment is something where you fundamentally fall in line and you want to change what you're doing for the better. So there's a few tips and tricks to do it, but ultimately understanding that as a human being we will do everything that we can to avoid any kind of displeasure or pain. And that often means that we set these massive, great big targets, unrealistic targets as a resolution. For example, a typical one would be going and losing a few stone and going to the gym, saying I'm going to go and hit the gym 5 times a week, I'm going to have an hour and a half's workout, I'm going to go and hire the best instructor. Ultimately, that's not massively achievable because life gets in the way. Things happen, we lose momentum, we lose focus, we don't feel like it. So what I would always recommend people to do is to take a bite-sized chunk and keep consistent. It's the same when people say about dieting or starting a business or doing something, is you commit to it and you take measurable bite-sized chunks that you can do. And for example, if you take going to the gym or getting fit or whatever it is, it's generally around getting fit, is if you want to go from doing no exercise to doing, say, running a kilometre. Well, I'm pretty sure once you get out and do a kilometre, you'll do a kilometre and a half or 2 kilometres. It's setting those measurable chunks that you can get to and actually do and commit to doing them, and also adding a time scale to it and a schedule, because without adding time to it, you have no way to measure what you're doing. So without a measurable goal, you're not going to get to where you want to get to, and you'll fall exactly back to where you started before you wanted to make your resolution. So my thing this year is, and has been for the last few years, is don't set resolutions. Set yourself goals and give yourself a map. And what that is, and we've spoken about this before in some other posts, is give yourself a map, a plan of how you get from where you are to where you want to be. You create measurable steps and you give yourself targets along the way to get to that goal. And that's the only way that you'll ever make any improvement or move forward in anything. And making a loose resolution at the end of December, beginning of January, saying I'm going to give up smoking or drinking or get fit or healthy eat or start a new business or be more present with my kids and family, without having some rules, some very clear tasks, targets and actions you're going to take, you won't get there. So here's a few points also on what you can look out for to help you set those goals and keep you on track. So first off, decide and commit to that change you want to make and that goal you want to achieve. Make it measurable, make it really, really granular, really specific, so you know exactly what you've got to do. Second, write it down. Now the weird thing is, don't put it on the computer or type it into the computer or onto your phone. Get out a journal, get out a notepad, write it down, because writing down important things like that means you actually remember them better than typing them onto a device. Step 3 is get absolutely laser focused on the why. Why are you doing this? Why is it important? and what do you want to get out of it. Now these need to be needle mover wise, you know, like I'm going to lose 2 stone because it's going to make me healthy, because I've always wanted to go and do a 10-kilometer charity race, and I want to do a 10-kilometer charity race in 3 months, and the way I'm going to do that is to start doing runs around my local area. I'm going to throw my trainers on first thing in the morning when I get out of bed, and I'm going to go and do a kilometre, and I'm going to commit to doing that once a week, twice a week, and each week I'm going to try and step up the distance to get to my 10k, so I know I can do my charity, I can raise my money, I can get that run done. Step 4 is be certain and take action, because an idea will only ever remain an idea and will never amount to anything without taking action. So everything that you think of as a good idea or something you do, you have to take a step immediately towards taking action towards it, moving towards that decision or that goal or whatever it is you want to do. If you sit and say, oh, it's a great idea, I'd love to do that, you've probably got thousands of those sitting in the back of your head that you've been thinking about for decades that you've never actually even taken 1% movement towards. So as soon as you come up with that goal or that thought, take action to move towards it. Step 5, the same thing as we said before, you've got to measure the progress of this. You've got to put a timeline to it so you know you're moving towards where you want to go and you can't drift off course. You have to put a timeline to it. Step 6 is keep going. We all know that we're going to hit some kind of adversity or some sort of roadblock along the way. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it. It'd be easy. You wouldn't have to have coaches. You wouldn't have to have gym instructors. You wouldn't have to go and learn courses or, you know, practice your art or whatever it is. You've got to keep going because you're going to hit that resistance at some point in what you're doing. And you have to ask yourself the question, what is this going to cost me ultimately if I don't see this through and get to the end of what I wanted to achieve? So that's my take on why setting goals rather than New Year's resolutions is much more effective than doing, you know, coming up with a list of week wants that you do once a year in the kind, you're caught up in the festive and the celebration of that time of year. And you know the intention is there, but you've got to have that commitment to go through and actually make those goals happen. So hopefully this has been a little bit of help to you. It's something that I do now all the time. I'm not interested in resolutions. I set goals constantly throughout the year, small measurable goals, and I hold myself accountable to them, and I always get them done and always achieve them.